common question I get is, what if I'm partially responsible for an accident? We find in many cases that one person who's not primarily at fault, they still might have some level of fault, okay? And a jury might determine they have 10% fault or 20% at fault. The jury assigns a certain percentage. So the law recognizes this, and depending on the state that you're in a state like Kansas, for example, you can be partially at fault for the accident. Let's say that you get hit by somebody who ran a red light, but you also happen to be speeding a little bit. Maybe you're driving 5 miles over the speed limit, and a jury determines that you're 10% at fault for that. So what the law says is, as long as you're not as at fault as the other person or more at fault than the other person, then you can recover for your damages, the amount of your total money damages, minus the percentage of the fault that's assigned to you. Okay, so let me give you a couple examples. If the most obvious example, if your damages are $100,000 and the other driver is 100% at fault, then they're responsible for $100,000. If your damages are $100,000, the other driver is only 90% at fault, and you're 10% at fault, then they're only responsible for $90,000 of your damages. As long as that offset applies all the way up to 50%. And as long as you're not 50% at fault in Kansas, then you can still recover your damages minus your own fault percentages. So if a jury says you're 50% at fault, the other driver is 50% at fault, and your damages are $100,000, you recover zero. In other states, like Missouri, for example, you can recover the full amount of your damages minus your fault all the way up to 100%. So you could be 99% at fault for an accident and still recover 1% of your damages. That's called a pure comparative fault system. So that does make a difference on what kind of cases can be pursued in both states. But in Missouri, the law fully recognizes you can be partially responsible or even the majority responsible and still recover for your damages with the offset for your own fault.